Hey everyone, and welcome to this new episode of the Escapist Corner. This one will be a bit different. This is gonna be the first episode of 9, I think. It's about the 9 essential amino acids, and yeah, a bit of a different format. I have video on this one, so I can also show maybe some stuff in the video. And yeah, it's going to be a bit deeper dive into what people tend to call proteins, and amino acids are, part of the proteins. And the general concept is usually to say proteins, you need to eat proteins. But if you have had like my protein guide that I created, then you're going to see that there are different kind of proteins and there are different sources of protein, and we're just going to do a bit more like deeper dive into proteins. And the one that we're going to start with today is called leucine, and it's essential for building muscle, but it's also really, really critical for regulating metabolism. It supports insulin sensitivity, and it might also improve your longevity. So we're going to do a deep dive into that. And a small caveat, like most people think that talking about amino acids is only about, becoming a bodybuilder or something like that. But I have some surprising stuff that you might want to hear, that I will cover at the end of this episode. So keep on listening, and you will get some surprising knowledge from a surprising study when it comes to leucine. So first of all, why does it really matter for our health to have leucine? So like I said, leucine is one of the 9 essential amino acids. It means that the body cannot produce it itself. It means we need to eat this. We need to get it like from outside of our body. Other proteins or amino acids, the body can actually produce itself, but not this one. So it's a BCA, or it belongs to one of the BCAAs, meaning branched-chain amino acids. And it's very known for triggering protein synthesis. So, for building muscle. So it basically tells the muscle to start building. And today we're just going to look into the other parts too: metabolism, insulin regulation, and longevity too. So, what does the research really show when it comes to leucine? Well, a study that was done in the Nature of Communications investigated the effects of leucine on insulin sensitivity in individuals with insulin resistance. So these were type 2 diabetic or pre-diabetic. And when it comes to pre-diabetic, I would also like to say that most likely, if you're not sub 20% in body fat, you're already at insulin resistance spectrum. So being over that percentage, it's just an estimation now, but you're most likely already going in the direction of diabetes, and this is why most people actually need to know this. So in this study, they split this group into 2 different groups: Group A, Group B. Group A got like a daily leucine supplementation, and Group B got just a placebo. And after 8 weeks of doing this, they showed a 23% improvement in insulin sensitivity compared with the placebo group. So this is obviously really, really good. And what the study concluded was that Leucine supplementation significantly improved insulin sensitivity and reduced markers of inflammation in insulin-resistant individuals. Meaning, if you take this and you have some insulin sensitive, you are not insulin sensitive, meaning you have resistance, then it will really help you to get rid of fat. That is what it kind of comes down to. You will be able to absorb, absorb blood sugar better, and most likely into the muscles. But we'll get into that in a second. So it kind of concluded that overall these people got better metabolic health. And how leucine now helps control blood sugar is that it stimulates insulin secretion. So it kind of triggers the pancreas to release insulin, and it helps to bring glucose into the muscle cells so we can use it for energy. And this uptake helps, of course, like with muscle growth. It helps with recovery, and again, it will take down inflammation from having chronic overload of high blood sugars. So there was another study made on the impact of leucine on blood sugar levels after meals, and this was published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism. And it compared blood sugar responses after a carbohydrate high or rich meal. And the group A had carbs and leucine supplementation. Group B had only carbs, and the group A or group 1 had a 30% lower blood sugar spike and faster insulin response than group 2. So this the study stated that leucine co-ingestion with carbohydrates improve postprandial glucose control and insulin response. So meaning having carbs plus leucine has a good effect on lowering your blood sugar. Now, I would not recommend anyone to eat a lot of carbs just because of that. If you listen to Dr. Ben Bickman, you will understand that if you have a lot of like elevated insulin, that is also not good. So even though you always have to see this from the big point of view, and obviously leucine will help to lower your blood sugar, which is good if you have inflammation and so on, but you don't want to use this all the time as like your scapegoat, because there's always it's always backfiring if you do those things. So but yeah, if you are training hard and so on, adding leucine, having more leucine in your diet will most likely bring more energy into your muscles, and actually the insulin helps to bring the leucine also into the muscles for growth and repair. So it's a win-win. And we're going to look into the leucine's role in metabolism and health and longevity too. So another study in Frontiers of Endocrinology explored how leucine affects markers of metabolic syndrome. So that is metabolic syndrome is another word for, well, inflammation, and there are many other metrics for metabolic syndrome, but high blood pressure, it could be high blood fats, and so on. But yeah, so they had two groups. Again, group A, they got leucine supplementation for 12 weeks. The other one got placebo. And the group A experienced a reduced C-reactive protein by 22%. So that's the inflammation marker in the blood. So 22% lower. That's almost, well, a fifth, almost a fourth in improvement. It was a lower triglycerides by 15% and improved HDL. So that's what they call good cholesterol. And overall, it seems to have like this positive effect. Leucine seems to help with the body to uptake these nutrients, probably like if we look into triglycerides and just speeding up the transportation inside the body, meaning also reducing inflammation. So the study concluded that leucine supplementation reduces inflammation and improves lipid metabolism, indicating its potential for preventing metabolic syndrome. And again, metabolic syndrome has many markers. So it's super important for people to mitigate heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, all those things. So the question is, where do you get leucine? Now, like I said, it's one of the 9 essential amino acids that you can only get by digesting them, by eating them. So you need to eat them. And the best sources for these ones are and will be animal-based sources, meaning it's eggs, it's beef, it's chicken, salmon, and if you supplement like whey protein. But so for example, if you have 100 grams of eggs, you're gonna get about 1.1 grams of leucine. Roughly speaking, I would say that per egg you will be getting 0.7 grams or something like that, 0.8. So if you eat 3 eggs a day, you're gonna have about 2.7 or 2.4 grams of leucine a day. And if you eat 6, the double, of course. If you have beef, 100 grams of beef is 1.7, chicken breast 1.6, salmon 1.6, whey, which is way more processed, of course, has 8 grams per 100. Then you have the plant-based sources, which have lower bioavailability, and this is also in the protein guide that I wrote about. But if you just look into how much it is, in 100 grams of lentils, you have 0.7 grams. And you have to deduct the bioavailability, so it might be about 70% of that it's actually been uptaken, so or 60, 70%. Quinoa, which is usually talked about like as a very high source, it only has 0.4 grams. So it's actually pretty low compared to the other sources. Pumpkin seeds is also another seed. They tend to range about between like 0.5 to 0.7 grams per 100 gram serving. And now you have to count the calories to these things too. So depending on where you are on your how much you can consume will be also something you need to think about. So how much do you need per day just for your health? So metabolic health, they recommend 2.5 to 3 grams. I would, generally speaking, want to put that up to probably 5 or 6, because many of these numbers are RDAs, meaning recommended daily allowance, and it's usually seen as like just to maintain and not really for growth and not really for longevity. So I would definitely up that up, and it will not be bad, and you will understand shortly why. And for if you're training more, you might even want to have a bit more. And one easy way to get this is obviously to, as I see it, front load your day with proteins in the morning and for lunch. And this way you can try to get as much high protein source as possible straight from the bat in the morning. And when you think about things that can reduce or increase the leucine uptake, so things that help to take up leucine, well, one thing that actually signals or gives the body the signal to higher the insulin will be carbohydrates. And when insulin is high, it kind of tells the body and the cells to store and take up. So it will also take up like leucine and other things. And again, like we saw, that leucine also helps with the uptake of the increased blood sugars. So they might be, especially if you're training hard, that can be a good thing to do together. We have omega-3, super important too. Mostly like these lipids and fats are like the ones that transport stuff from the gut into the bloodstream and so on. So, and usually many of these lipids, they have kind of handles that connect to other molecules and makes it easier and that's where the bioavailability comes in. You have these like drivers that helps the body to transport these amino acids through the body. So omega-3, and then vitamin B6, and you can usually find these ones in poultry like chicken and so on, but also in bananas. So it helps with amino acid metabolism also. So it's not only the transportation, but it also helps with the amino acid. So important hormone there. And then we have foods that will inhibit leucine uptake, and that's going to be a lot of fiber. So if you eat a lot of fiber, generally speaking, what fiber does, it kind of clogs the inside of your gut. So anything that you're eating is harder for the body to uptake. So it has like the opposite effect of fats and sugar. And that's why many times people that go on very high fibers diets also lose weight, because the body is not able to take up the stuff that you eat. And this is why it's way less damaging to, for example, eat fruit or eat like an orange, because you have a lot of fiber, and that fiber kind of protects your gut from the fruit sugars. Instead of like if you drink it, you just don't have any fiber left. And so having high fiber will also reduce the uptake of leucine or any other amino acid. Then you have phytates and tannins, and they are usually found in legumes and grains and tea, and they kind of bind into those amino acids again, so it reduces the bioavailability. And that's, again, if you look into the sources of protein, that is why many times these food sources are not as bioavailable, because they simply just grab onto those amino acids and don't let them go. Alcohol is also very bad for your protein synthesis. So if you avoid those, then you will have better uptake for sure in your uptake. So then we have the surprising study I wanted to end off with. Or maybe I wanted to also talk about BCAA drinks. No, I will do that next time. Well, the surprising study that I want to talk about was leucine and brain health, and especially for aging people. So in the in the American Journal for Clinical Nutrition, they explored how leucine has an effect on cognitive function in older adults. I'm pretty old myself, so this kind of includes me, I think. No, actually they were a bit older, but anyways, the researchers tracked two groups for 24 weeks. Group A, they had high leucine diet, 3 grams per meal, so kind of the lowest of the recommendations. And group B had a standard protein diet, 1.5 leucine per meal. The group A showed a 15% improvement in memory recall and 20% reduction in markers of brain inflammation. So they also did a MRI scans, and it revealed better hippocampal function, an area that is very critical for memory. So the researchers concluded, our findings suggest that dietary leucine enhances cognitive function and reduces neural inflammation in aging populations. Is that me? Maybe. So as we see, often anything that is good for our muscles and for our repair and growth tends to be good for our brain too. We talked about this in other blogs and stuff here on the podcast when it comes to creatine and so on too. So for anyone that likes to use their brain and wants to remember stuff better, it might be good to also have some leucine. Okay, that's it for today's episode, and yeah, stick with listening to these episodes, and we will get through all the 9 essential ones. Until next time, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching or whatever. Take care and see you next time. Bye.